Hi, this is Sive Morten with the daily update on EuroFX. I post my exclusive market overviews with the key political and economical events, charts and important levels on the ForexPeaceArmy.com forums weekly. This short video is a response to rapidly changing situation on the currency markets and should help you to stay on top of the game and be profitable. I suggest you to visit ForexPeaceArmy.com forum and read my analysis for the week before watching this daily video.
Welcome back, everybody. Let's update our view on the Bitcoin market. So here's a lot of interesting stuff, and actually Bitcoin is getting the least piece of the liquidity pie that has been released after the stabilization in the stock market. So previously, when stocks was under pressure, it's a really big liquidity demand was where investors were selling all assets that they have in their pockets to finance the margins on the stock market. Later, when Donald Trump started giving some contradiction statements, the collapse on the stock market is paused, although it's difficult to say for what time it will stand. But anyway, liquidity drought has stopped, and actually considered immediately after that upside performance starts, as in the gold market, as in the Bitcoin. But since the Bitcoin is treated as most volatile and not as not the primary quality of the assets, Bitcoin gets less amounts of the investments, and that could explain why the overall upward direction on the Bitcoin is not as strong as on the gold market. So, but anyway, some positivity here exists as well. So take a look what we have. On the monthly chart, it's very interesting moment. So it is still a couple of weeks until the end of April, but potentially we could get the bullish grabber around the yearly pivot point. That might be very important for a midterm perspective. So market just needs to close above 85 area. So if the April will close above the 85, we get the grabber. And the grabber suggests taking out with the stop. I don't know what it will be, whether it will be just wash and rinse, stop grabbing around, or maybe market will keep going higher to the 120 area. We will see. But appearing of the grabber, it definitely will be the bullish, which is really significant potential. That's the one thing that we need to keep an eye on the monthly chart. On the weekly, currently, I do not see lots of things, so we don't have clear patterns. Market is not oversold anymore. The bounce from our predefined 75 area started really great. So as we said, that will be an area for a long entry and possible to pull back here, and it now stands in the way. So currently, the major question is what to expect within the few sessions, what could happen and what targets might be reached and so on. So in general, here we should understand one thing, that the policy of Donald Trump is not changing. So everything, although he is bringing some exceptions on the tariffs, on the next day he tells that these exceptions are temporal and just within the few weeks they will be reestablished, the tariffs will be restored. So everything is just a kind of the managing chaos in the media. So it's just giving some statements so that investors although do not know what to believe or what to not, and actually it's a really big headache. But the one thing remains stable, that the Donald Trump devastation effect is not changing. So whatever he does, actually it brings no benefits to the United States economy, to the Americans, and so on. So just ruin around without any positive effect. From that standpoint of view, we need to take a look at the dollar. So on the dollar, we have this type of the performance. This is weekly chart. And you can see that although market stands currently very overextended, so it's oversold on the weekly, on the monthly chart. Actually, it's just challenging for now, very important psychological 100 level. Based on the technical picture here, we see some really big, fast acceleration. And if even we'll get some relief here, the deeper downside action should happen. So it's really big chance, at least based on the technical picture. Besides, on the Bitcoin, we are not considering currently two extended targets. I mean, for daily trading. They stand relatively close. That's why the fact that dollar is overextended, it should not become the really problem for Bitcoin to achieve nearest ending targets, because Bitcoin is not at ever bought, so it has ability, and if dollar just will stay at the same area, the overall situation where investors start searching some safe haven assets, so they already probably have Swiss franc assets, gold, and maybe some part of the money might be invested in the Bitcoin. So from that standpoint of view, here is not some direct one-by-one correlation between these two assets. But overall performance on the dollar is supportive for Bitcoin. On the daily chart, things that we have, you can see that the nearest destination point probably will be around 8788, because here we have confluence resistance, fib level, we have divergence that suggests the taking out of this previous top, so reaching of this predefined level, and potentially, as already mentioned previously, it might be hand and shoulders pattern. We will see whether it will become truth or not, but within the few sessions, chances that market will try to reach 8788 area seems significant. So trend stands bullish in all time frames. Market is not at everybody, as I said. On the lower time frame and the 4 time frame chart, you could see that our previous setup has worked really perfect. We said keep an eye on the 85 area, it will be the target, because we have the XOP. 80 even area right now becoming more the background for taking the long position rather than shorting. So you can see here was confluence support, as we talked about this in the last update. You can see what has happened. So now our target has been achieved. Now we're watching what will happen around this level. And approximately the picture could look like on an hourly chart. So here we have ABCD from another ABCD pattern. OP stands around 87 precisely. So if I would use this type of the ABCD pattern, you could see that the OP stands around 87, almost 50. So 87, 87, 50, it's next extension target. And based on the butterfly that might be formed here, you could see that also it could be reached. So if market will form the butterfly, it has 1.7 extension precisely at 87 area. So that's theoretically that might happen in the nearest time, because too deep retracement here seems not quite normal. It's not quite natural, will be. Since market stands very close to the destination point, it's coming to the resistance on the daily and appearing here deep retracement. Theoretically, it might happen, but probably it will have the external nature. So if some external factors will impact Bitcoin. If everything remains quiet, more probable that we should get this finalizing of the OP butterfly and reaching of this resistance level that we have. So that in two words what we have. So for this particular setup, these levels of course are most important if you're based your trade on the butterfly. But in general, to keep the bullish context for the market, I suppose that market has to stay somewhere above the confluence. If somehow it will happen that Bitcoin just will break it down, then probably we are wrong, and current, not quite wrong, but just the current bullish setup probably will not be formed. So because in the current circumstances, drop below the confluence will be not natural performance for the picture that we see. Some flirting around this range, making an attempt to complete the 87 seems more reasonable. So from that standpoint of view, maybe indeed it makes sense to stay focused only on the shape of the butterfly. Do not place too far stops, just to not lose a lot of money. Because if you place it below 81, probably your risk will be even greater than the potential profit. And from the risk-reward ratio point of view, this is not a good idea. So hence, we have just one possibility to deal with the butterfly and placing stop somewhere below these areas. That's the only one thing that we see currently on the Bitcoin market for nearest couple of sessions. Then we will see what will happen.